thought you got rid of me, didn't you? Well, I'm back. I'm not done. I had to take a quick break. It was well, you talk for 15 minutes straight and you need to get some water and stuff. Anyway, let me carry on. So right now there's something disappearing in America right now, and most people haven't even noticed it. It's not education, it's not intelligence. It's common sense. Common sense ain't so common anymore. Common sense is the kind of practical wisdom that people used to learn naturally from living life. The kind of knowledge passed down from grandparents, fathers, mothers, neighbors, farmers, mechanics, old men sitting around the country stores drinking coffee before daylight. And somewhere along the way, America started confusing information with wisdom. You know, there's a big difference between information and wisdom. We live in a society today where the combined knowledge of the planet is available at our fingertips through a smartphone. And I think we live in the time of smart phones, smart cars, even smart water, but not so smart people. Information and wisdom are not the same thing. You can memorize facts all day long and still not understand how the real world works. And honestly, that disconnect is creating problems everywhere, especially in rural America. The people who understand the consequences most are the people that are living in rural America. People who live close to the land tend to understand the consequences better than most because nature teaches consequences immediately. If you don't prepare for winter, winter doesn't care. It's going to come anyway. If you mistreat your animals respond. If you don't maintain your equipment will fail. You know, you can take time to plan preventative maintenance, or your equipment's going to plan maintenance for you. Trust me on that. If you ignore weather, weather humbles you. Nature does not negotiate. And because of that, people raised around farming, hunting, fishing, logging, mechanics, and outdoor life often develop a very grounded understanding of reality. Not fantasy, reality. They understand effort, patience, failure, responsibility, cause, and effect. So I had this young lady that worked for me. She was in her early 20s, and she told me one day she came in complaining about something that was in the news. And I asked her, I said, "So how would you solve that problem?" And she said, "Oh, I don't know. I don't even care. I want to bring attention to the problem." So I told her that I think when you complain about a problem and you don't offer a solution, that's called whining. And it is. If you complain about something but don't have any type of solution to offer, you're just whining. It's cause and effect. That's the kind of wisdom used to be common in America, and now it feels increasingly rare. The internet world and the real world are two different things. The internet has created a strange problem. People now spend more time arguing about life with people they don't know instead of actually living it. Entire belief systems are now built around headlines, memes, 30-second videos, and emoji reactions. Algorithms reward outrage, not wisdom, not balance, not understanding, outrage. It rewards fear, anger, and division because angry people click more. And when people stay angry long enough, they stop listening. That's one reason modern society feels exhausted all the time. Everybody's being psychologically pulled in 10 different directions at once. Constant outrage, constant fear, constant tribalism. Meanwhile, real life keeps happening outside. The garden still needs planting. The dog still needs feeding. The truck still needs fixing. Mine's got a couple of things going to have to happen before hunting season. The roof leaks, still there when it rains. Reality doesn't care about internet arguments. One thing that worries me is how practical skills are disappearing. Basic survival knowledge, mechanical knowledge, outdoor knowledge, and communication skills. There are grown adults now who panic if their phone loses signal for an hour. Self-reliance is a thing of the past. Meanwhile, older generations could navigate entire countries with memory alone. I know I drove all the way from North Carolina to California a couple of times using a Randy McNally road atlas. We could repair engines on the side of the road. Done that. I've seen a transmission rebuilt from an old Chevrolet truck. I think it was a Chevrolet. It might have been a Ford. I think it was a Chevrolet. But I saw them pull the transmission out of a truck at the hunting camp and rebuild it on the front porch and put it back together when I was a child. We built barns, run trap lines, tracked animals, predicted weather from clouds, and understood just how fragile civilization actually is. And maybe that's part of the problem. Modern convenience has created the illusion that systems are permanent, but they're not. Every civilization that's ever been on this planet thought it would last forever. And only the ones that are currently here survived. Think about that. Rome thought it would endure forever. Rome fell. The systems are not permanent. Power grids do fail. Supply chains fail. We're having some supply chain issues right now. Technology fails. Civilization fails. History proves that over and over and over again. We're digging in the dirt in the deserts around the Middle East and pulling up stuff from civilizations that existed long before we thought civilization existed. And those civilizations rose and fall. And the people most prepared for hard times usually aren't the people screaming online. They're the quiet people out in the country who already know how to survive. A lot of people ask why hunting still matters in the modern world. Simple answer. Because hunting teaches reality. It teaches patience, discipline, failure, humility, and responsibility. A person can spend days in the woods and come home empty-handed. Nature does not hand out participation trophies. And honestly, that's healthy. The outdoors forces people to slow down, pay attention, observe, think. And that's becoming rare. When my son was 16 years old, he packed a bag during Christmas break at school and spent a week down at the hunting camp without me. Now, there were other adults that I trusted that were in and out of the hunting camp, but he was there on his own. He cooked his own meals. He took care of himself. He took care of his hunting dogs. And like I say, there were some other adults in and out, but there were several nights he spent all by himself in the middle of the woods in an old cabin that was older than the United States itself. He was 16. He's 30 now. So how many 16-year-olds would you trust at that? How many city 16-year-olds do you think you'd trust with that? Not many. He wasn't from the city. And that's becoming very rare. Modern society is increasingly built around distraction, constant stimulation, constant strolling, constant noise. The woods are different. The woods force silence. But even when the woods are silent, they still make a bunch of noise. Silence makes people think. That's why so many people find peace outdoors, because for a little while, the noise stops. Now, the next part may make some people uncomfortable, but it needs to be said. Modern society increasingly treats traditional masculinity like it's a problem. It's not a toxic behavior, it's not abuse, and it's not arrogance, but simple masculinity itself. Strength, competence, self-reliance, stoicism, and leadership. Those are qualities that used to be respected. Now they're often mocked. And honestly, that's dangerous, because society still needs strong men, just like they need strong women. Civilization depends on capable people, especially during hard times. And rural culture still tends to value those traits. That's one reason there's such a cultural divide growing right now, because rural America and urban America increasingly operate under completely different value systems. Yet urban America wants to create the laws to govern rural America. That doesn't work. History's shown us something interesting. Hard times often create strong people. Strong people create stable societies. Stable societies create comfort. And comfort sometimes creates weak societies because people begin taking advantage of stability granted and they forget how quickly things can change. That's one reason older generations sometimes sound so cynical. They remember hardship, they remember war, they remember economic collapse, natural disasters, and real struggle. I'm the product of two parents that were alive during the Great Depression. I was a surprise baby late in life, but I am what I am. And I've seen natural disaster myself. I've also seen war. And when you've lived through enough hard times, you stop trusting the illusion that modern systems are invincible. That's why a lot of rural people keep generators and solar panels. I've got solar panels and a generator. Extra food, tools, equipment, and skills. I've even got a truck that'll run on moonshine. You might too. You got a flex fuel truck? It'll run on moonshine. If you know how to make moonshine, you can make fuel for that truck. Trust me. I've already tried it. And it's not because we're paranoid. It's because experience taught us preparation matters. And what really matters, at the end of life, most people will not care about internet arguments. They won't care about follower counts or algorithms or viral outrage. They'll care about their family, memories, friendships, stories, moments around a campfire, old trucks, old dogs, watching the sunrise. That's stuff people remember. Trust me, I've laid on my bed once. I didn't think a bit about arguing with anybody. That was the last thing on my mind. There wasn't a single material thing on my mind when I lay dying. I can tell you that right now. It just wasn't my time to go. But the stuff people remember is what I named off. And honestly, I think a lot of America is hungry for that again. That's why we're so miserable. People walk around all day and they're upset, they're angry, and they don't know why. We need something real, something grounded, something human, something deep down. People know modern life feels artificial sometimes. It's too fast, it's too loud, and it's too disconnected. And maybe that's why outdoor traditions still matter so much. They reconnect people to reality. And one day, all this noise will fade away. The trends, the outrage, the algorithms, and the distractions. The land will still be there. Everybody that's passed on, that I've known, that own land, land's still here, they're gone. The rivers will still flow. The woods will still whisper in the wind. And somewhere an old hound will still be trailing through the dark. Maybe that's why protecting these traditions matter. Not because they're old, but because they remind us who we are. This is Todd Edwards with TicBite NC. This is the second podcast that I will have done for Don't Shoot Hunting Dogs. Stay safe, protect your hound, respect the land, hold on tightly to common sense while there's still some left, and think while it's still legal. Let me look over here through the comments. Y'all throw some likes in there. If you like it or hate it, throw a like in there anyway. Got a bunch of people in here saying hi. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't miss anybody's comment or anything. Bear Camp, I see you there. You've been here for a while. Thanks a lot. Guys, I'm going to call it a night. I'll catch you on the next one.